I've also been, taking the time to go within. Although, for me where I work, it hasn't really affected me. So my life has kind of just been going on like usual, except
Right.
uh, things are empty everywhere. Um, but yeah, like I've been careful about how I've kind of came out and talked about some of these things.
Hmm.
But something that happened was I posted one of my videos on Facebook, uh, and now that I look back on it, it was probably not a very it was a platform with a lot of people who were not like very aware, and it ended up kind of stirring a lot of stuff up, and I was like, oh my gosh, like
Oh,
so there I feel like there's a big split in people who think like this is you know they don't have zero idea like sort of the agenda stuff that's going on, and then
right.
people who like are aware of that, and it just became obvious to me that that split is like really happening right now. So
Yes.
you know that's been interesting to see that divide. And I would say as well, like I'm just a very peaceful person and I don't like to jumble anybody up. So when that I had a lot of negative comments, people like take this video down, all this stuff, I was feeling that. And
Right.
something that I feel like what you mentioned before is like taking on the energy of the collective. I feel something that I'm developing is like distinguishing between my own negative emotion for my own life experience and then the collective, because as like a super sensitive crystal, right, we absorb. So when I'm around someone, I can feel that and I know, but then if it's coming in from the collective level, I don't necessarily know if it's me or that. And it's so how do you like distinguish between that, like your issues that you need to process versus, and of course it's all the earth is our issues, but you know what I'm saying, like
Yes.
how do you like distinguish between those two things, like what is the
Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge how I totally understand how difficult that is. One of the most difficult things about being empathic, being what I call a super. I call us super sensitives, and I coined that because growing up it was always don't be so sensitive. Like it was such a bad thing to be,
yeah.
and eventually,
Oh,
you know that
oh God.
one. Eventually, I got to a point where I was like, wow, my sensitivity is a value and it's a gift, and we need people in the world who are extroverted and not sensitive, and they have their powerful role, but we also need a balance. We need the introverts, we need the sensitives, we need that too, because we
Yeah.
all help each other. And
Yes.
I thought, why is all the focus on the non-sensitive? We're just whatever, shake that off. Like, why is that so prized? And my sensitivity it's something that even to this day I still get upset about. But I really feel I took back my power and that's why I started the YouTube channel. I'm definitely not someone who wanted particularly to be on camera, but I thought I have to reach out to other people and know that, and let other people know that this is a beautiful thing to be, and we just need to own it. We need to embrace it. And by calling us super sensitives, it's like a superpower, because when you actually use your gift the way it's intended, it is a superpower and it's very helpful in life. But back to your question, that was a massive difficulty trying to it took me years. I mean, I'm 39. It took me years to figure out like how to stay in my own energy.
Yeah.
And many of my videos are about that. I'm always saying that is our probably our weakest point, in that because we feel everything. There's so much going on around us, and we're feeling it all 360 degrees. It's so important we learn how to stay in our energy field. And one of the ways that I learned to do that was, first of all, recognizing that as a super sensitive, and especially as a crystal, you will have a tendency. It's almost like, it's just instinctual. It's almost automatic that when someone shows up who's in pain, you will jump into their energy field, and
Yes.
you'll start. You notice that,
Yeah. Yep. I
and
do.
you're literally, you start to transform it. You start absorbing their pain. You start, and they're like, "Wow, I feel so much better," and you're like, "Whoa, I don't feel well."
Yeah.
So we have to, first of all, make sure we've done our meditation and that we're clear-minded and that we're in alignment, because I notice the pattern. If I'm really tired and I'm fuzzy and spacey, if I've been too much on my phone, if you're not even, your diet has to be good diet, exercise, movement, clear energy, meditation, like clean living.
Yeah.
And that really helps.
Yeah.
And then checking in. So you check in when you're feeling stuff, you're with somebody and you're like, oh, I'm feeling depression, I'm feeling anxiety. You tune into your body knows its own intelligence, and you ask yourself, is this does this feeling belong to me?
Hmm. Yeah.
And
That's.
your body will give you a yes or no. And you go into your solar plexus and your heart. These are great places. Always listen to your heart and your solar plexus. For
Yes.
me, I only have to meet someone, and if I get that alarm bell in my solar plexus, I know that spending time with that person isn't good for me. And
Yeah.
I wish them love, and I move away. It took me a long time to learn that. I had to go through some horrible abusive relationships, sexual violence, all that kind of stuff in my past, in my 20s. But
Yes.
thankfully, learning from those experiences and understanding that when you are a healer, when you're a crystal, when you're whatever, an indigo, you have these tendencies, you will attract darker energies, because the darkness is attracted to the light, because the darkness is actually seeking the light.
Yeah.
So like a moth to the flame, you are going to attract that. So it's about, I don't want to use the word protection, because I think that implies fear and you need protection. But
Right.
it's about having an expansive, keeping that, because again, sensitives usually have really big auras. We have really strong auras. When we walk into a room, it fills the room. People feel it, even if we're not aware of that.
Yeah.
So it's about, I always say when I start my day, when I'm in the shower, I say, Archangel Michael, please clear and cleanse me of any feelings or vibrations that do not belong to me. And I just see that water pouring through my chakras and just letting go of stuff that, and I say, if this is not my stuff, let it go. I'm happy to deal with my own stuff. I always take responsibility for my own pain. But, I work a lot with people. So I'm constantly dealing with people in crisis situations. So it's
Right.
very important that I'm aware that this is not mine. I need to let that go. Another thing to do is, when you're sitting with somebody who's in pain, you're just aware that you're in your body and that you bring yourself into the base chakra, the red chakra, the base of your spine. You sit in there. That's your power seat, and you bring it up into the sacral, because believe it or not, most sensitives actually absorb and channel energy through the lower chakras.
Really.
See, we have a tendency to be all up here,
Yeah.
and that's lovely, but it will affect you having a grounded life. It'll affect your finances. It will affect, you having a place in the world, in the physical world. And I think that's something that sensitives often have a big gap between. We're wonderful in all the spiritual stuff, but when
Yep.
it comes to the grounded physical, we can be wishy-washy.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's brilliant what you just shared, and I resonate with it on a lot of levels. So thank you for that.